art of wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, relax. You're about to listen to the Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entry into the minds and souls, the hearts and lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. Hey, I'm a world traveler, jumping on planes, going around, seeing things, living different places, living it up. I'm living it up, but I'm doing that because I am a professional wrestler, and I am sitting here live in my studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before I go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. We give it to you free of charge every single Thursday. ColtCabana.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts from. Also, Howl. Go on over to Howl. Best way that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Tell a friend. Let somebody know. Tweet it out. Facebook it out. Best way that you can support, though, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, t-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads. I got a new wrestling digital download. And then also, if you're into those card games where you can use me as a card, I have an exclusive SRG Universe card available at Colt Merch. I'm looking at the card right now, though. Technique 8, Submission 10. That's pretty great. It says Power is 5, though, but if you look at the card, I'm fucking jacked in it. I don't know if it's believable, but if you want to play as me, head on over there, pick up a card. That's ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. All right, we're back to normal podcasts. We're off the live podcast for a little bit. Like I said, I am sitting on that one from Global Force. I'll give it some time, and then I'll put it out a little bit later. I think it's going to look cool because I had Kurt Hawkins on there, and now he's a SmackDown superstar. I'm super excited for Kurt Hawkins to be on SmackDown. Fact! Kurt Hawkins did my podcast a couple months ago. Fact! I follow him on Twitter and Instagram. But I got a bunch of good talks lined up. I'm excited to get back into the show, back into the regular swing of things. Sitting back here in my apartment, being able to talk to you guys, have a conversation, a one-sided conversation where I talk and you listen to me babble on. For the last month, I was in Edinburgh, Scotland, and a lot of you guys heard about it from the live podcast. I hope you didn't skip over those. They're some of my favorites on there. It's the only time when guys like Chris Gethard and Ari Shafir can come and jump on the podcast and talk with me about wrestling in front of a live audience and make wrestling jokes. And that's special for me. You guys will know that, my love of comedy and wrestling mixing together. Of course, that's what Wrestling Road Diaries 3 will be, which is, I'm not giving any more dates, but I've seen some final edits. And we're getting it done. We're getting it out there. I'll have it out there. I'm sorry. But I was in Edinburgh. I did a show every single night. I did 2 podcasts. I wrestled a bunch of times. It was a busy schedule. And it's my favorite. And I say it's kind of like my summer camp. Like, that's my vacation. And I only bring up the idea of vacation because this past week, I went to Costa Rica. I wrestled for CMLL Costa Rica. And at no point is this any kind of complaint. It's almost a complaint by myself. Like, I should be smarter. I thought to myself, like, man, I wish I had an extra day in Costa Rica just to sit outside and sit by the pool and allow myself to have a vacation. Because I got there and we did a lot of driving and we went to eat. And then the next day, and then we did a lot of driving and then we saw some cool stuff. And then I wrestled. And then the next day you go home and I didn't get a real opportunity. And I always say when people say, how come you never take vacations? They're like, my life's a vacation. And I felt that way in Edinburgh, but it was like rainy, crappy Edinburgh. And then I go to Costa Rica and I never really got that sensation of it. No one to blame. That's not even a problem. I'm sitting here telling you my problems about going to Costa Rica and Scotland. Come on. Let me tell you about CMLL Costa Rica. Because this past weekend, there was 2 tournaments that a lot of the world was talking about. The King of Trios with Chikara, Bola with PWG, and they're known for their amazing, high-energy, outgoing crowds. Some of the best crowds in the world, something that I've personally, championed to the rest of the world for years now, and a lot of people are caught up on and understand the idea and the intimacy of independent wrestling. And then I go to Costa Rica, maybe one of the craziest crowds I've ever been in front of. And it's an eye-opener, for every time that I think I've been everywhere in front of every crowd and every type of wrestling fan, the fans of Costa Rica come out of left field. We're almost like nothing I've ever seen before. It's pretty wild. Jay Lethal and Matt Sydal are the only other guys that they've ever brought in. So I was like the 3rd guy that they've ever brought in. And if you know me, like, I like to ham it up to this kind of crowd. So, like, who knows? I'm sure Jay and Sydal we're great wrestlers and we're wrestling and we're into the character. But I find anyone who like claps and I go after them and I embrace. And so this man, hopefully I'll be able to sneak some clips onto Instagram or something like that. But it's just a testament to how awesome wrestling is, how awesome independent wrestling is, and how awesome just like this fucking weird cult, this underground cult of independent wrestling. It's so fucking cool, and it's so weird to be able to go to Costa Rica and like discover for yourself almost. And I think the funny part is like there's the American dude, and he knows who I'm talking about because he's just like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, I heard on your podcast you're going to Costa Rica, and I'm going to be there for work. And then he weirdly had to find it because the directions are like 200 meters left, 300 meters right, go underneath this pit, and then this is where the wrestling show will be, above a garage in some weird industrial warehouse. He found it, and I'm sure him and his coworkers were just as like blown away as I was of like, what the fuck are we doing? Where the fuck are we? And why is this so great? And why does nobody know about it? So hopefully I do my due diligence just saying how great it was. This episode is going to be great. Warbeard Hansen is on the episode this week, or just Hanson. He looks nothing like the group Hanson. And as we talk in here, he's telling me like, oh, we've met like years ago. I did a bunch of ROH shit, and I'm just like looking at him and I'm seeing that beard and I'm like, I don't know. And then sure as shit, I go back, I do a little homework, and I'm like, oh, fuck that guy. Get the fuck out of here. He looks so different. I don't know, anyone who throws on a giant beard like that and starts losing their hair a little bit, sorry, Hanson, that's going to happen. So my memory afterwards has been sparked. I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, I remember that guy. Just one of those guys who would come around to these shows. I've seen him for years. I was one of those guys in the WWE, like just coming around, and I'm sure Randy Orton or somebody was like, yeah, that's a guy that comes around. And this is my favorite idea of this podcast, is that those guys that nobody's paying any attention to, they have stories, and eventually they work at it and churn, and years later, they're finally able to make a dent in some kind of scene. He's on television now, former Ring of Honor tag team champion. While I was in Scotland, he was over there touring, so he's doing it. He's doing the job. It took him a long, long time, and that's my favorite. It's a great story. I love having Hanson on, and I'm happy you guys get to hear the conversation that we had. Before we get into it, though, we do have a Song of the Week this week, and it's sponsored by one of my favorite sponsors, 54club.com. We had like a conference call. The guys knew exactly who the audience was. They knew about wrestling. They'd listened to the show. So it makes me so happy that I'm able to tell you guys about it. They're your personal stylist, and they're just shipping you clothes, the clothes that you need, and I do mean that you need them. My wardrobe, personally, it sucks. I hate going out. I hate shopping. You've probably seen me over the years wearing the same exact stuff, but that's starting to change now because I'm building up a fun, stylish closet full of really nice clothes thanks to 54 Club Apparel. They send you a package each month for only $60. Free shipping. It's great if you got the clothing budget. I'll actually give you a discount in a second here. It'll make it more cheaper. They're out of LA, so they got a great grip on what's going on. 54 is a members-only club. You can't get it in stores. You've got to belong. All you got to do is go to the website, pick your preference of style. I go casual, but they got a bunch of different ones you could choose. They'll set you up, and as the seasons change, they're going to send you different stuff accordingly. Just head on over to 54club.com and use the promo code COLT. That's going to give you 50% off for the first 2 months. That offer ends at the end of September. FIVEFOURCLUB.com. Use that code COLT. Get like $250 worth of clothes for only $60 and that free shipping, and start looking good. All right, the song of this week is by a band called Thunder Driver. I forget sometimes where I get these songs. I don't know if they sent them to me or I found them. I'm pretty sure they're based out of Chicago, so extra points for them. Go support them at thunderdriver1.bandcamp.com. Give them a follow on Twitter at thunderdriver16. The song is called The Lariat. Oh, okay. See, I'm noticing things right away. You have a Canadian flag tattoo. You have Japan. That looks fresh.
It is fresh. I just got it in England. It's all the countries I've wrestled in so far.
Oh, and the plan is to get it all the way up the leg.
Yeah, my whole body. Yeah.
Your whole body.
That's the plan. We're going to make some of the flags larger, I think.
What do we have? We got America. We have Japan, the United Kingdom. I can't say England. Can I say England?
Sure.
Yeah, because if you wrestle in Scotland, it's a different flag.
Correct.
Is there different Canadian flags? No.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So that's good. It's a good start. Mm-hmm. Let's hear the stories on all of these.
On all of them. Well,
UK was new.
Yeah, UK was new.
It's all kind of new.
Yeah, it's all pretty new.
Originally, it was just a thing of Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just New England. Yeah. Beautiful New England.
And your other leg is just clam chowder, right?
Yeah. Lobsters.
Good.
Yeah. It's all pretty new. Nothing I mean, I've been wrestling for 15 years, and nothing's really taken off until
Nothing's taken off.
no, until now.
Is that weird for you? How is that depressing?
No, it's been a long road and hard work and doors shut in my face and me kicking through them, and then worse and bigger doors shut in my face and me trying to kick through those. And
there's a lot of guys like in Chicago that I just see and I'm just like, these are the guys that like will just be here forever. And like sometimes I think to myself, like, would I be okay with that? Like I have those feelings. And you probably, when you were younger, you saw those guys, and maybe you could tell me some of those. I assume Tony Rumble or something. Or maybe he was gone by then. Was he gone by then?
Tony had passed away, but I started in the New England with Jason Rumble.
With Jason Rumble, right.
His fake son. The gimmick son. So I know all those guys very well.
I don't know why I have such a love for. It's just I think he was that guy in the PWI magazine and like with the hard hat, right?
Tony, yeah.
Tony Rumble.
Yeah.
Or was he bigger than? Was he not big? Was he a thing?
He was the thing in New England.
Right.
He ran everything, and then when like WCW did World War III, he was one of those 90 guys in the.
He was in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a big claim to fame.
Yeah,
you could run a school for years based off of that one picture of a video still.
Yeah.
Right, and he probably did.
Of course, yeah.
Well,
but Tony had passed away by the time I started.
Okay.
And but he ran New England for the most part. It was like him, and then there was Kowalski's, and they ran New England. And then when he passed away, like 1,000 promotions sprouted up in his wake. So
based off of like he was the. Like this was the heir to the like everyone claimed like they were his.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And what everyone had too much respect to start up stuff while he was while he was
pretty
running.
much because he was the man. So
was he mafia? I know you don't know this.
No, I don't.
Not mafia, but like, hey, like if you run, I'm gonna make sure that you don't run.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far it went like that, but it was just. I think it's just known that he was the guy.
Nobody's running, but
yeah.
Okay, and then did you see those guys? Who were the guys in the lock? I guess you can't name names of like. Only that's not bad. Is it? Like guys who were just kind of in that area, like when. That were kind of veteran-y, that were just like well, Lobster Man.
There's a ton of them, but like when I first started, Lobster Man, of course, Lobster Man, of course, Lobster Man. But when I first started, it was.
And then hold on, for context, what's his name again?
Lobster Man?
Yeah.
Jeff Costa.
Jeff Costa. Yeah. Okay.
Lobster Man for president.
He wants to be president also?
There was a long while that he just ran for president. That was kind of his gimmick, but he was legit doing political ads and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a guy who had lobster claws. Mm-hmm. And once told me that I was ruining wrestling by like making it look fake.
He told you that?
Told me that. Yeah.
This is the guy who would promote shows in New Hampshire, and it would be like you'd have the big poster, and it'd be Kevin Nashua and Homozuna and Scott Hollis, because Hollis was a town in New Hampshire.
I know you didn't mean to say Homozuna, but
no, that was the name.
It was like a gay.
It was gay Yokozuna. He wore like a pink gimmick.
Oh, and it was him.
No, this is just guys on a show. He put on a show.
Wrestled on a show, or saw or heard of a wrestler named Homozuna.
Yeah, Homozuna. Sissy Boy Shea Michaels, Bart Hart, the Sting, wow. Ray.
Because have you heard of the stories of the guy that used to do these tribute shows in England?
No,
that was a thing, but it was Undertaker, Bret Hart, Rock.
Okay.
And it was just people that infamously Paige's father was Road Warrior Animal.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but they didn't they were like trying to like just be those guys. But this is promoting just.
It was just, and then on all the flyers and stuff, it would be like in big letters, Kevin Nash, and then or Scott Hollis.
I've never heard of that in America. There was a guy when I started who was doing pretty infamously. His name was Dale Gagne, but he would book like Golga and it'd be somebody else and anyone, and that was kind of like the doinks that ran wild. But he would almost take it to a whole new level. Yeah, but that's a pretty
doinks were huge in New England too, because that's where Survivor Series '93 was in Boston. So those suits got out.
Get out of here!
Because that was the four Doinks Survivor Series in '93. So those suits got out. So the doink thing is just. It ran over New England for a long time.
Who were those? Do we know who those doinks were? I mean, those were just like Lombardi, right?
Yeah,
Maybe Brooklyn Brawler.
Kern was one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't give it to the local.
Well, they had they gave a bunch out, local people, because they did vignettes and stuff and promotional stuff of all these doinks.
Oh, I don't remember. Like when Cena was when there's 100 John Cenas.
Yeah.
I wonder if those guys are. I wonder if those 100 John Cenas are trying to like do a scam.
I would hope so.
And Archibald Peck was one of them. I learned
There's another thing that Lobster Man did, and I wasn't around for it, I just heard the stories, but he sold 3D wrestling. That was the big gimmick, 3D wrestling.
So he was a visionary, the Lobster Man.
Of course, yeah.
Except when I wrestled on Chikara show, that vision was wrong.
Yes, he failed. Yeah. So it was 3D wrestling, and he sold 3D glasses to wrestling fans of New Hampshire, and he made sure he was the first match. And when he came out, he just got in people's faces and wiggled his claws and said, "Looks like I'm coming right at you." 3D wrestling. There you go.
I was trying to think how you would actually do that. You can't do that on a screen.
No,
right?
No, he just did it live in person.
3D was hot. It made a comeback recently. It's pretty.
Yeah.
They're selling 3D TVs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and then when you started. I know I totally took that tangent.
I don't even know what the question was, but
I don't even remember. I think it was the younger guys or the older guys who were hanging around, who were kind of still around, who hadn't had a break, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of guys, and there still are a lot of guys. But like when I first started, it was in New England, and I ended up working my way to Chaotic Wrestling, which at the time was the place to be because all those guys were getting the dark matches and stuff. So guys like John Walters,
yeah, of course,
Vince Vicalo, Arch Kincaid, Aaron Stevens, who Damian Sandow
just
now
wrestled him, yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So those guys were the guys.
He was after you.
Kofi was after because I helped train Kofi.
Gotcha.
So Kofi was after that whole thing, which we always knew Kofi was gonna get a good look because he could jump so high. But Chaotic they had like a connection with WWE. So all the dark match guys, all the guys got looks. Dr. Tom was always coming in and stuff like that.
So did that start when you? So you later went to Chaotic.
Yeah, my first year or so I was elsewhere. I was with in New England, and then I had a little 3-month stint with Bob Evans, and then I went to Chaotic.
The restaurant. You just
yes, the restaurant
cooking behind there.
or Brutal Bob Evans from New
Either
England.
one. Yes. But when they started getting that hook WWEF hookup at the time, were you there, or did you be like, "Oh, I should be over there"?
It was I should be over there.
So you didn't see the beginnings of that. How
Not
did
the very
How did the beginnings of that all come about?
Through Mike Hollow, who was a trainer at the time.
Okay.
He had a good relationship with Pat Patterson and stuff. He did some of the camps back with the Dory Funk camps and stuff like that.
He did. He wrestled.
He trained at some of those.
Really?
Yeah. So
in terms of what, he went to the Funkin' Dojo, or he was invited like Edge and shit.
I'm not entirely sure.
Was he there with Teddy Hart?
Perhaps. I don't know for sure exactly what his deal was, but he did some of that stuff. WrestleMania 14, I think he was one of the guys that Ken Shamrock suplex, one of the Office guys. He suplex and stuff, but he was good friends with some people in the office, and he was able to get connections there. And he worked with the owners with Chaotic, who at the time there was 7 of them, and they all had money. So their goal was to.
What do you mean? Sorry, they were dudes with money who started.
Oh yeah, the original Chaotic Wrestling, for those who don't know, was a bunch of pretty much money marks who got together and thought they were going to be the next ECW, and they legitimately signed guys to contracts, and they were paying them weekly. And obviously they figured out that wasn't going to work. And now, things have changed. Now there's one owner, and they run it properly, and they know what they're doing. But when the first couple of years,
super fad. Right?
Yeah, the first couple of years they didn't know what they were doing. But Hollow got involved, and they had this vision, and really, pretty much the vision was to be another developmental or even a performance center type facility, the Chaotic Training Center in North Andover. And so they had a connection with Dr. Tom, and Dr. Tom would come in, I don't know, every 3 months, and he'd do camps and look at guys. And anytime they were in the area, all of our guys would go to TV. So it was that sort of thing. And that relationship lasted for a long time, even through Dreamer's reign, through Bucci's reign. They were always coming to us for extras and to look at guys. And so
because that place made nobody fucked up. Were there stories of people that went and fucked up?
Oh well. There's
Because like that's the key, right? Like once you start fucking up, you're like, well, maybe we shouldn't use this place. It's full of fuck ups.
well, yeah, but I mean, some guys fucked up, but there's like stories around them. Like Palmer Cannon's a good one. He came from Chaotic.
Yes,
I
mean, he got signed and the stuff with JBL or whatever.
Yeah, there was that, and he left. He
right, but
he
I
quit.
mean. But that was like, we like this guy, we're going to sign this guy. But I'm saying, like, if you're sending 15 extras and like, hey, we know.
Oh, yes.
Up.
No, there was never an issue with one of our guys. Never.
That's kind of.
But I've been there so many times and saw so many amazing things
What have you
happen.
seen?
And it was never one of us.
I'm trying to. I sit and trade stories because it's. I think about it too. This was a lifetime ago for me.
I was going for WWE. When I going to Chaotic Training Center, like there was the one goal. It was WWE or nothing, and that was the goal for X amount of years that I was wrestling. So I was going to all the TVs for forever, and it was
Were
always
you around with Tommaso?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he kind of said the same story. It was just like he didn't know anything different.
Yeah.
I feel all those guys probably didn't know.
Correct. Okay. And that was our mindset. And for me, it was 6'2", 240. And that was always was preached to me. And I got close, but I'm not, it's not my body type. I'm not an abs guy, and I'll never take steroids. I'm straight edge. So yeah, me and Tommaso were like best friends. So we were just hooked at the hip. There's a long period of time when I lost my license and I was taking 2-3 trains to work, then ride my bike for 4.5 miles. And then Tommaso would pick me up at work and we'd go to the gym and then we'd go to the school and we'd be at the school for 2 hours just wrestling until class actually started. Like that's when we had our most growth. It was me, Tommaso,
I thought
Max
you didn't
Bauer.
do steroids.
I do. Well, yes, okay. Good
That
singer.
was a steroid. I don't know if people even realize it. Human growth hormone is just okay.
Yeah, so this was 6'2", 240 was always, but that's not my body type.
Right.
I'll never have abs. Never have abs.
Did you came close-ish though? You think?
Yeah, I got pretty close. I'll just show you some pictures when we're done.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
I was close.
I'd like to see.
I was close, but
So nobody fucked up there.
None of ours fucked up. But we'd go, and it was, you figure out, because there was always one who was a fuck up, who got hired for extras, always one, and you had to avoid them like the plague.
Right? Yeah.
There was one time when we were all druids for the Undertaker, some Survivor Series, Taker versus Big Show. Big spot where he had Big Show broke a casket, and then we had to bring that one out. He get knocked into it, and then we had to carry him off stage. But there was like 12 of us there. Biff Busick. He was literally wrestling for like a few months, and he came as an extra.
What the dream, by the way.
Yeah.
It took me
Yeah.
7 years to get to finally
exactly
become an extra. Yeah.
Exactly. And there was just one guy. He came from Kettner's. Chaotic and Jim Kettner had like a relationship at one point,
Which is ECWA.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even that bad, but just the way that he was talking and presenting himself, we were all on the stage at one point. Everyone's on one side of the stage, and this guy is eventually by himself on the other side. It was
walking up to Kane.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
I once saw Rockin' Randy, who was on a very early podcast of this. He was like 40. He was a WrestleMania. He couldn't care less. He knew he wasn't getting signed. He's like, "Hey, Gorilla, how you doing, you sex offender?" And he just started calling him he said, "Hey," I think he's like, "Hey, Bischoff was there. Hey, Bischoff, I got that same suit." And he's like, "Mine was like $20 at Penny's, though."
Oh,
man. It
man.
was just the weirdest thing. It was kind of awesome, but you stayed away from him. Because you didn't want that heat, but you wanted to watch it from afar because it was pretty good for this guy for not giving a fuck and knowing he's never coming back.
Yeah.
So that was your life. It was
WWE or nothing.
And so now we look differently as you say here. You're getting some notoriety. 15 years later, you got tattoos at different places. But this was never even your trajectory, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I had some darks for Ring of Honor back in 2005 or 2006, 2007, in that area. But at the time, I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be in WWE. So I was just if it happens, it happens. It'd be good to get some notoriety or something. But this isn't what I want.
How did that even come? So how did they even
Fat Pants?
Oh, so Sinclair. Gets you some
Fat
darts.
Pants. It goes even deeper because my first show, February 15, 2002, my first show, Pants, Todd Sinclair, the referee for Ring of Honor, and his friend Mucko had just started booking for Chaotic. but they're still coming to local shows pretty much to heckle because they're still fans. They had just started in the business, and they came to my NWA New England show. It was my first match, and their reaction after that match was, that wasn't that bad. And they decided they wanted to book me from there. And then that's how like my friendship with Fat Pants started. Okay. And I got to the Chaotic School. And
by the way, that's the best situation.
Yeah.
After your first match is that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Do you ever know? I don't know if I've ever known anyone who had their first match and you're like, damn, right?
Well, no, of course not.
Yeah.
But you also have to put into consideration like the show I was on and the other wrestlers on the show. They were that bad.
Yeah, there were some that were probably doing it for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was the first match, and you're the thing that stuck out.
Like, not that bad. So that's how I met Pants and kind of hooked in there and went with Chaotic and learned to be a pro wrestler. So Pants knew how hard I worked and how good I was, and he wanted to help me out, and he got me some opportunities with Ring of Honor.
There's a little bit of like, they're gonna sign me, but I really want to go to WWE. Like, what if they put me on their roster? I'm like, but I need to be in WWE. Like, did that come to your mind at all? I assume probably if you're in that mindset.
Well, yeah, but I got the same feedback from like I did one of Funk's dojos for a tryout for like All Japan or something. I was trying to go to Puerto Rico at one point.
That's
TNA. I was just trying to do something to get out there, but always the feedback I got, same from Ring of Honor, it was, "You're great, but just get in better shape." So it was always my downfall. And then when injuries plagued me, it got worse because I couldn't do the stuff in the gym that I needed to do to get in better shape. So I got fatter and like I fractured my spine and I was out for a year at one point.
From what?
I don't know. I was wrestling for 2.5 years with the pain. And like the original doctor I went to was like, "Oh, it's your hip, just stretch and you'll be fine." And then I kept wrestling, got to the point where I couldn't walk down the grocery aisle without having to stop and take a break and be like, "Oh." So I made a decision before I went and saw a specialist. All right, I need to take time off. I'll take a year off and hopefully this will heal.
Oh, good.
And then when I went to the orthopedic and explained how I felt, again, I thought it was my hip. Just telling him my pain, he's like, "No, that's your back." And then X-ray showed one fracture on my left side. The MRI showed 2 fractures, one big one on my left, one small on my right. So he told me then that I was done wrestling.
Oh, God.
I'm like, shit.
Well, you took the year off?
Yeah.
Were you like hating yourself?
I was.
What do you do in regular life?
At the time?
Yeah.
I was working undercover wear, which is like lingerie, sex toys, sex parties. Like I was working in the warehouse and stuff like that.
Okay.
The owner for Chaotic Wrestling actually owned that place.
Oh, that's probably...
So a lot of us, Tommaso worked there at one point too. Like a lot of us from Chaotic had jobs there at some point. Just because
when you're with a business who's by 7 rich people, one of them's going to have a thing for you to do, right?
Exactly, yeah. But I wasn't making any money there. That was just a job to have that had the flexibility that I could do the wrestling stuff.
Support your wrestling, yeah.
So that's all that was. So I was miserable.
So, and then you did that for a year. You did that job for a year while not even wrestling.
I booked for Chaotic for a short period of time in that time frame as well. So I was still involved, but I couldn't do anything.
When you started, so where you're from a Boston-ish area?
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know the outskirts. Is it just like the burbs of Boston or in Boston?
Well, yeah, I was born in a small town in New Hampshire. I moved to Lynn, Mass. Lynn, City of Sin.
Is that what it's
just give you an idea how great it is. I moved there in high school and I lived there for most of my training life after that.
It's a shitty town?
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
What's the reputation? I mean, I get it's sin, but like
it's just a shit place. It's
blue collar or like gang warfare.
At one point, it was a booming like shoe industrial place, and then it just fell apart in shambles. And it's gangs, and it's you name it, drugs. It's all over the place. It's a terrible, terrible place.
I mean, you seem pretty together. Were you not at one point? Or did you come out of there okay? I
came out of there fine, luckily, because I'm straight edge. I've never done drugs, no alcohol, none of that stuff.
Where does that come from, do you think?
My parents were both alcoholics, and I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I guess drugs just kind of came hand in hand in my mind, even though I don't think they were drug addicts, but who knows? But the alcohol thing, I just didn't want any part of it.
See, it's either side of the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, my parents, beer was never in the house. They made a decision, like, don't put it in the house. My brother didn't drink, and so I was just like, I never fantasized about it. So I don't know. So I didn't drink.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be them.
They were both. Are they still with us?
Yeah.
Or?
My mom passed away when I was 12.
Okay.
My dad's still with us. He's in AA and stuff. He doesn't drink anymore. And he hasn't drank for a long time, actually. And he's now my biggest fan. He comes to all the shows and stuff, so it's good.
Did your mom pass from alcoholic reasons?
No, she had a massive coronary heart attack. So they didn't go any further than that. So
do you have parents or do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother and a half sister.
Did that I imagine that's the worst. Like ever.
Yeah,
did it drive any of them to drinking or anything like that?
No. My half sister, a different mom, so it didn't affect her.
I'm sure it affected her.
My brother,
really?
Well, she wasn't really in our life. So.
Okay.
My parents were split up at the time. My brother, he actually lived with her. I lived with my dad in a different town. I actually had a suspension from school from some asshole thing that I did. So I actually got to spend like the last 3 days of her being alive with her.
Right.
My brother ended up being sick the last 2 days, so we actually spent all that time with her, which was nice. But so she passed away that weekend. But he lived with her. I didn't, and when she passed away, it really hit him really hard. He's my older brother, and it hit him a lot harder than it hit me. I'm not saying it didn't hit me hard, but,
right?
But it hit him harder because it still really affects him today. Mm-hmm. It's rough for him.
And I guess you can't get over that, but it's...
No, you don't get over it.
Yeah.
But I think around the same time, I saw the movie The Crow. I don't know if you've seen The Crow.
No, the Brendan Lee?
Yeah, and just the quote that he says in the movie, it can't rain all the time.
Okay.
And that's...
I thought you were going to say, like... Because he died on that movie.
He did die in that movie, yeah. No, just that quote in that movie is how I've pretty much lived my life. So when shit happens, it's just... It can't rain all the time, so...
And did you go into wrestling like did you go? I kind of like, did you go to school or because you were saying you just had these jobs to?
Yeah, I started like backyard wrestling, bad in my high school years.
Bad backyard wrestling, or like you did it so awesomely.
It's all I did. It's everything I did. And it was the hardcore stuff, like crazy fire, barbed wire,
really?
Thumbtacks. Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah.
Who was was it Foley? Like I hate to put this on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. Foley was part of it because you see all that what he did and how he came up and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, part of it was Foley, of course, but it was also ECW. We're doing all the same stuff they're doing in ECW, so you know, it was all that. But I wanted to be a wrestler, so this is what I did. I couldn't go to a school or anything at the time. I didn't know how to get into it, so I just watched as much wrestling as I could and tried to learn it. And then as soon as I figured out where school was, when I moved to Lynn, I met a referee in New England, and he told me about their school. So I just...
How did you meet him?
I worked at KB Toys. He worked around the corner at Smart Beat.
And like what, you both were wearing wrestling shirts, right?
His employee was wearing a wrestling shirt, and I was wearing a wrestling shirt, and then pretty much that.
Right?
Yeah, that's how it went down.
That was nerd Twitter before.
Yeah, of course,
wrestling nerd Twitter.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, that's how that went down. So that was just. I was training to be a wrestler when I was 17. So I was still in high school.
So yeah, that's okay.
I had my first match when I was still in high school. I was senior in high school.
Yeah. Did you? Did the kids from school come?
No.
Were you a ticket seller?
No. No, I was not.
Was it a secret life, or did you not have many friends?
Well, I just didn't have shows that were near where I went to high school and stuff. So, and not everyone in high school's got a car, especially in the city. So they can't really. So
were you one of these guys that were like kind of influenced by all these older dudes around? And so, like, were you the younger guy around, or in that area was there a lot of similar aged guys?
No, I was a younger guy, but
because I feel like I was hanging around. I was 18 or 19 when I started. I was hanging around with a bunch of 25, 27-year-olds and stuff.
Yeah, I was with a lot of older guys, but I don't know if I'd say I was influenced by them, because a lot of them were smokers or drug addicts
But I'm
or
saying, like, for me in high school, for a Friday and Saturday night, we would go to the parties or the whatever.
Yeah.
And like for these guys, when you're 27, 28, you're making your shows, like, so like you're kind of switching. I mean, I'm kind of grateful. Like, I always say that I wish I would do it when I was 14, but I'm kind of grateful I had a nice high school experience.
Yeah, just because of backyard wrestling, I didn't do any parties or anything like that. It was
Not that I didn't drink, but you just go
yeah,
socialize.
even
right?
like doing any of that stuff. If it were socializing when I was in high school, it was we're booking the backyard
You were
wrestling,
even doing-
or we're going table shopping, or there's a sale on thumbtacks. Let's go get those.
Was that
You know
your
what I mean?
Friday and Saturday nights?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or I'd be working at KB Toys making the money so I can go out and buy tables.
Right.
I can imagine how much money I blew just on hardcore weapons or backyard
You
wrestling
guys
when I was in
wouldn't
high
go
school.
construction shopping?
Oh yeah.
Like the local construction sites? That's what
No, we never did that.
Yeah, because my buddy, the guy I did it with, his dad was like owned like he was like an architect and shit. So like we knew all the spots where like that's where you go grab the wood.
jealous.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm jealous.
And he had a pickup truck too, so we just
I'm
hucked
jealous.
everything in there. Yeah.
I'm very jealous. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. I don't even know what it is, but you can guide it to me. Someone said that there's something crazy. I think it was with your dad, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Was your dad a clown or something?
Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
Jimbo the Clown.
Is this? Can I hear? Because this is my first time hearing it. But
yeah.
someone said you got to hear this story.
Jay Lethal is so happy about it.
Okay, it is Jay
it's
Lethal.
literally his favorite thing in the world. My dad was he was in the electrical union, and he got laid off when I was young, and he needed a way to make money, and he'd go to some like birthday parties and stuff with clowns, and he'd find out how much money they made, and he's like, I can do that. Not only that, I can do that and charge him half the money and still be making great money. So he decided as a part-time job he would do the clowning thing, Jimbo the Clown.
He was essentially a backyard clown.
Yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
Didn't go to train. Did he get trained? Okay. Sorry,
No, I don't think he got trained. He just kind of learned it himself. Went to like a magic shop, found fairly easy magic tricks to do, and learned how to make balloon animals and juggle. He's great at juggling and just all simple stuff.
How old were you when your father became a clown?
I was probably in the first grade, I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
Were you popular because your father was a clown, or was it?
I don't think the kids at school knew.
They didn't know.
No, because we lived in New Hampshire, but he would do most of his work in Massachusetts and stuff. So I don't even think the kids knew.
How did he find clown work?
So he had a flyer, and I actually have a copy of it on my phone. You can read it. It's a whole flyer and stuff. That's how you did it back then. A flyer and put flyers out and put them on telephone poles, or go to the convenience store and put them on the pin board and stuff. And that's how he got work. Or that and word of mouth too. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, last time you had this birthday party, you spent this amount of money. Well, I'll do it for half the price. And
so did you guys ate because he was a clown? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you had a roof over your head.
Yeah. That was the supplemental income when he was laid off. Absolutely.
What was the clown name again? Sorry.
Jimbo the Clown.
Jimbo the Clown.
And then there were times
was
when
his name Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were times when there was no babysitter, or my mom was working doing something else, so he'd have to take me and my brother.
Yes.
So we would then dress up as clowns.
Oh, you were the assistants.
We were the assistants. Yeah.
What was your clown name?
I don't know. I know my brother was Eric Bo, so I can only assume that I was Todd Bo. I not very creative, but we did. I remember. I have a memory of doing like ladder spots with my dad, like the Three Stoogers. Like one of them has a ladder and he turns and duck and stand up and take a bump and all this stuff. Oh yeah.
Did that remind you of wrestling a little bit? You get it?
I wasn't a wrestling fan then.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I didn't become a wrestling fan until the 1, 2, 3 and beat the Razor Ramon on Monday
Get
Night
out
Raw.
of here.
That was my.
That caught you.
Yeah, it wasn't only that. That was like, and I'd seen it before then, but I wasn't a fan. That's what made me a fan, and made me want to become a professional wrestler.
What have you seen or been on? You've been on shows.
I've been on shows with them. Awesome.
Yeah.
The first show was on with Scott Hall and X-Pac at the same time. Was November in England. And that
Just recently.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They're both. I just did a ride with Scott. I can't get enough of this guy.
Yeah.
Like new Scott Hall, I don't know old Scott Hall, and I don't know NWO Scott Hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know
this guy.
and he's the nicest.
Yes.
And so is X-Pac.
Yeah.
They're both Sweethearts. So I'm glad that you got that that experience with them. You never wanted to be a clown.
Nope, never wanted to be a clown.
Okay.
But I was. And my grandfather, he always volunteered to be a Santa Claus. So I have a picture somewhere of my grandfather as a Santa Claus, and then me and my brother and my dad as clowns.
Okay.
So technically, I am a third generation entertainer.
And I was gonna say, like, do you think it's in your? I mean, I don't want to say.
Well, another funny story about my dad.
Okay.
This is the podcast about my dad. He had a band in high school. Yeah. And they kicked 2 members out of their band that went on and formed the original Boston band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he hate himself every day for that?
more than likely, yes. That probably led him to drink.
Yeah, right? Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's one of those stories you don't hear. That there's got to be all those stories.
Yeah.
You know, if everyone's got a story. Everyone with success has a story,
of
something
course.
like that. And he's the heel.
Yeah.
Him and his buddy are the heel in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, my dad is not a performer in my mom's maybe a little. You know, I've done some YouTube stuff with her, but like they never like had any aspirations. I don't think. I don't know. Do you think even wrestling like I don't know. Like I never looked at it like being like I realize 100% now it's like it's a show, it's an art, we're entertainers, we're hams if you will. But when I got in, like that wasn't even like a thing. Like I didn't even consider myself an entertainer.
Yeah, I wanted to be the best professional
Just
wrestler.
a wrestler,
yeah.
right?
I just wanted to wrestle.
It's kind of weird. Do you find like I don't know if you think about this, but I think about this a lot. It's just kind of weird how we like just all of a sudden kind of became like I don't even want to say like I became like the drama kid all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a great thing and real like almost realize just like how like either open the spectrum is or close. You know, like
well, I think
I'm a jock, but no, look at I'm a drama guy. Look
yeah,
at me.
I think like when we get into it, we want to be professional wrestlers, and then we learn about what psychology is. And that's when we learn the art and we fall in love with the art. At least that's what it was for me.
Okay.
Like that was learning psychology and how that all worked and getting an interest in that and, you know, piecing things together to you know, pull the strings of an audience. That is, you fall in love with that instantly. And that's what makes you the drama. But when you first get started, you want to be a professional wrestler and do cool moves.
I want to be like Lex Luger, man.
Yeah, exactly. But that's when you learn psychology, you're like, this is art.
I
love it.
Did you have an aha moment like that or anything?
I don't think so, no. But I think when I spent so long being Handsome Johnny. That was the original gimmick I got stuck with, Handsome Johnny.
Stuck with or love?
Stuck with at that point, just completely stuck with. No one would let me be anything else. But so I did all that stuff with WWE, and I was just a Handsome Johnny on the indies, and it was terrible. Even when I came back from my back, I was still Handsome Johnny because no one would let me change. And then when I went in for my shoulder surgery, and I hit rock bottom, I was like 330 pounds. I was like, I don't want to say suicidal because I wasn't suicidal, but I was like that depressed. Like
right.
Wrestling's
So,
over.
like,
This is the second time I'm out. This is the second time I've been told that wrestling's over. Like
Shoulder surgery from wrestling?
Yeah. I tore my over 50% of my labrum. My shoulder kept popping just out of my socket. It was terrible, and they didn't even know it until they went in. Like they went in to do a minor surgery in there, what they thought was going on. And then when I woke up, it was like, yeah, so we found that your labrum was completely torn, and we had to sew it back together.
All of mine is just. I'm afraid to go in for any minor surgeries.
So when I was out for that, I hit rock bottom, and then just like something clicked where I wanted it. And I just came to terms at that point with never going to WWE, and I was okay with it, and I was perfectly okay with it and fine with it. And I made my goal Ring of Honor, where I could be the best professional wrestler I could possibly be. I know I'm good enough to be here. Let me come back from this. Let me prove it. And I lost 90 pounds.
God damn.
I grew my beard. Like when I went in for surgery, that was the last time I cut my beard. I haven't trimmed it since. So not only is this my gimmick, but it means something to me. So when I finally got to be able to come back, that was my goal, was Ring of Honor. And I went to the Ring of Honor tryout camp. I was wearing a singlet. I have loose skin around my stomach. I don't know if you know anything about that, but I have a little bit of loose skin around my stomach. And I had a singlet, and I was told to change my gear and stuff. And that's when I developed what I wear now, the quote-unquote fupa cover. And when I did that, and I started like being that character, I think that is when the light bulb went off for me. And it took a long time for it to pop off for me, that I got to go out there and just stop trying to be a amazing professional wrestler. I can go out there and chain wrestle no problem with anybody, but that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. That's not my character. That's not how I look. I need to be who I am. This big burly ass kicker, as opposed to Handsome Johnny, the great professional wrestler.
When did it just become Hanson?
When I came back, I was calling myself the brand new bad Todd Hanson. And when I started the top prospect tournament for Ring of Honor, they dropped Todd, made me Hanson, and I added Warbeard shortly after that. And the real weird thing is I did my tryout with Ring of Honor in April. It was I don't know what year it was. It was when the bombing happened in Boston at the marathon that same weekend. Then I got called by WWE to do a tryout with them, their first tryout at the Performance Center. And at this point in time, I'd already made up my mind. I'm okay. I've come to terms with not going to WWE. I'm okay with it. So then they called me.
Yeah.
Like, really? Usually now?
That's how it works, yeah.
And I went to that, and I gave that a try. And I think if I had gone any earlier, like before I came to terms with, okay, maybe I'm never going to go there. If I had gone earlier before I made that, I think I would have been freaked out of my mind. Like, just
being down there or waiting for a phone call after.
Oh, just going down there, terrified that I was going to screw up or fail or whatever. And then I think going down there, where my mindset had changed, I'd realized, this is a casting call. It's all in my mind. Like, this is a casting call. If they want somebody who looks like me, then they're going to hire me. Because even if I suck, they're arrogant enough that they think that they will be able to make me a great professional wrestler. It's the look that matters, and then my attitude. So if they want me, then they'll have me.
Yeah,
but
they say that on auditions all the time, and that's something like kind of it's fun to hear that too, like in terms of wrestling, because I know a lot of wrestlers, and you obviously know a lot of wrestlers that go down there, and they're just like, if you're not right, that doesn't mean you're awful in the auditions for like parts, because I'll like read my lines and get it down, and I want it so bad, and like they're just like, if you're not right for it, like you don't beat yourself up for it.
Yeah, we're not fitting a specific role they're looking for.
Yeah.
And I remember because when Kofi got signed, and it's always right place, right time for a lot of these guys. When Kofi got signed, we had a tryout at the Kyoto Training Center, and a bunch of the agents came, and we did the whole tryout thing. And I remember I wrestled Kofi, and I made sure he did all of his Jamaican crap, 'cause that's what he was doing. And just so happened that Dean Malenko was there. And Dean Malenko happened to remember a conversation he had with Paul Heyman, where Paul Heyman said he wanted the Jamaican character for ECW, the new ECW. Kofi got signed.
Right.
If Dean Malenko didn't remember that conversation, Kofi never would have got signed.
Yeah. And that's also like, it's right place, right time, but it's also be at every place.
Yeah.
Right? Like I always say, like, or, all these things will, if you're sitting at home and waiting for an opportunity, you're not going to be at the place, or you're not going to meet the person who met the person who came there and got there and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where a lot of people like poo-pooed by Kofi getting that signing. I guess he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, no, we were a real tight clique.
Because he was probably the youngest one there. Like Kofi, he was on the show. I don't think he had that many years in.
No, Kofi. I had Kofi's first match on a show, and that was like 4 years in at the time. So Kofi got signed real quick. But no one was. We were such a tight clique. Hollow, our trainer, at the time Deep South was around. And what Hollow would do, he has a direct line to WWE, and he'd get all the drills that they're doing at developmental. And
the idea of just picking up the phone and being like, WWE.
Yeah, that's legitimately what he did. And he'd get all the
drills.
He'd get all the drills. So we were doing what they were doing at Deep South, which was retarded. Where before
Down syndrome. We don't use that.
I'm sorry. we were Dunham and Dijak, and and we were doing 500 squats before each class, and then we would do, hit the ropes 80 times, get out of the ring, do 50 more squats, lock up 100 times. Like, we were doing stuff that you just couldn't breathe. So we were like, what we went through, man, we were so close. So anytime one of us got any success, we were excited. And I mean, the tight group was me, Tommaso, Kofi, Max Bauer, who he got signed at one point but had to retire because of a neck injury. Then Brian Malonis, who's still in New England.
I met Max I did some stuff down. I mean, he was like working the door.
Yeah,
And I think he stopped.
That was when he had the neck injury,
and then they gave him like an office job, and I think that was like
for a
depressing
short period of time. Yeah.
Which I'd imagine being there and not being able to like be in the ring. It's
hurtful.
It's gotta get to it.
It's hurtful. So no, there was none of that with Kofi. Like
Right.
anytime any of us got any opportunity, it was
one of
we're
us
happy.
got it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how a lot of us felt. I feel at least that was my heart. I guess you can't speak for anybody else, but you assume that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Is that when someone got in the Midwest, kind of was like better one of our guys.
And there's always just deep down inside the little voice like, fuck, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
But that's not the emotion that you have that takes over.
I think it's more
it's
like,
joy of one of us got it.
Sure. I think it's more of like, it's a little closer, you know, like, one of us, then it might be me, I might be the next one. That's kind of how I always looked at it.
Yeah. With the WWE tryout, it was, so I wasn't scared going down there. I wasn't nervous or anything, and amazing things happened there. That was a great tryout.
Like different heads being weird.
It was wonderful.
Oh, God.
It was wonderful. We were even told, and I haven't mentioned this to Hero, but we were even pretty much told that Hero was going to get released. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah, we were just told.
Like, you got the scoop. Hey, we're giving the scoop to all the fucking.
Some indie guys come in and they work out great, and some come in and just they don't fit in. Like Chris Hero.
Jeez.
Like, okay. It was quite amazing. But my feedback after that a couple weeks later was just, you did great. If we are looking for an Icelandic warrior, we'll give you a call.
Right.
Which is what I expected. It's a casting call.
Were you on the one with Sami Zayn?
No.
He told me a great story of someone asked if Mr. McMahon was dead because he blew up in the limo.
Oh my God, that's amazing. No, a good one from one of the matches on mine. Two guys are wrestling, and they get in like a scuffle in this match, and DeMott blows the whistle. Hey, what's going on? And this short, stout, stocky, muscular Arabic kid goes, "He won't let me get my shit in."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's just a sample of the amazingness that happened at my tryout camp. I was with the American Wolves. I was with a bunch of guys like that. So it was.
There was a handful who knew what was going on.
Knew what was going on. Yeah, and it just didn't.
So I guess my I don't know if this is too personal. I hate saying this at a guy like at your level. Like, do you have another job?
No. I just finally, after 15 years,
Right.
I am a full-time professional wrestler.
Cool. That's what I was that's right now. It's a different goal, and it's not like it's very hard to make this WWE money that like realizing like, okay, maybe I'll never get there, but hey, I can do wrestling full time.
Yeah, I'm making enough money finally that I can be a full-time professional wrestler.
How proud was that when you did that?
Great, and then I got this like directly after, like the week after
Right,
the
the
tattoo.
is pointing too.
Yeah,
Did you quit a job or did you just stop a job?
I put it in their lap. I said, look, when I took this job, I was a supervisor at a chemical repacking warehouse, and I put it in their lap and said, hey, this is what's going on. You guys already gave me shit about time off. This is what's happening. What can we do to make it work? Because I don't want to leave. Mm-hmm. I'm making good money, and you guys need me. So what can we do to make this work? And they pretty much told me, sorry, all set. So I pretty much put in a month's notice, and I left, and it was fine.
Are you stressing yourself now?
No, because they literally last week called me back and said, hey, can you work any hours during the week?
Okay.
So if I want to, I can pick
But I'm
up
saying
some
that
hours
jump to when you're like, okay, I'm all in on wrestling here.
Yeah.
Or I'm able to start.
Yeah, I was more excited than stressed, I think. But whenever my bank account runs low, then stress is gonna peak up. But I have the option to do some part-time work at that place if I need it.
And no family or kids or anything.
No. I have a girlfriend that we've been together for a long time, but no kids, none of that. So
she knows the life, like.
Yeah, she's okay. She
knows the cheap wrestling lifestyle.
Yeah, she was in the business for a short period of time, so she understands it, which is great.
Well, that's nice.
Otherwise, I'd be alone. And
right. You found one, you stuck onto it.
Yeah.
Cool. Did we not hit anything else? This is a new question I ask.
Not hit anything? What do you mean, hit anything?
Am I missing anything?
Oh, that we could do like 17 hours of a podcast.
You're a great talker. I know we can. The important stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
That's a horrible question.
Off the top of my head, it's a tough question. I mean, there's a bunch that we could talk about, but for a general first podcast, I think it's gone pretty well.
Is that right?
They have the taste of who the hell I am.
Yeah. And I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Where are you at on the internet?
Twitter, Instagram at Warbeard Hansen.
Okay.
Those are the two best places to find me. Mm-hmm. Instagram's fun. You see a lot of pictures that I post of giant noses where I reference Donovan Dijak. Those are enjoyable. And a lot of cat pictures of I got 3 cats.
Do you?
I do.
What are their names?
There's Boo, little black one. It's my girlfriend's cat. And then there's Beaker, who is huge. And then his mom, Juventude.
I hope after our favorite juice character.
Of course. There was actually a time at TV, I went there. It was the time, Tommaso talked about it at the time that he was the lawyer for The Undertaker.
Yeah.
So I was there in the stands with somebody. We're just sitting there watching around, and the diva walks around the corner down by the entranceway, and we're staring at her long black hair, beautiful.
From behind.
From behind, yeah. Tight pants, beautiful ass. We're both elbows. Who's that diva? Turns, it's Juventude Guerrero. So that's why my female cat is named Juventude.
He probably, if you would have said something,
he's a beautiful man.
He probably would have loved it. Taking you up on it. All right, bud. I appreciate you being on.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it too.
Thank you.
All right, Warbeard Hansen is on the show, and we'll have to. I can see him being a good live guest. He's a talker, a good talker, has fun stories. He's been around, and that's why I'm happy for his success. And I'm happy to have him on the show. Before we get out of here, let's get into some plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, the best way you can support ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW Podcast /Colt Cabana. Past archives of the show are on Howl.fm. Use the code COLT, get yourself a free month. ColtWrestling@gmail.com is my very public email. Maybe a promoter want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. I got a YouTube channel. I also have a website, ColtCabana.com. Send me some snail mail. You'll find my P.O. box on there. Upcoming Friday, September 9th, Cleveland, Ohio, AIWrestling.com. Saturday, September 10th, Rahway, New Jersey, WrestlePro online.com. Sunday, September 11th, San Antonio, Texas, the great San Antonio Bash.com. I got some ROH dates coming up. September 16th, 17th, 24th, 30th, October 1st, 14th, 15th, 21st, 22nd, 29th. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Detroit, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and Baltimore, ROHWrestling.com. Friday, October 7th, Marinette Park, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Saturday, October 8th, Kansas City, Kansas, MetroWrestling.com. Sunday, October 16th, Austin, Texas, WrestleCircus.com. Sunday, October 30th, Gainesville, Florida, TheFestFL.com. That is the show for this week. A big thank you to you guys at home. I really appreciate you listening, spreading the word, telling your friends. Thanks to Hanson for coming on the show. Thanks to Kevin Guy, Jeff and Stu Stone, Kid Russell, Matt Jenkins on the music, Dane Miller with some tech. How about some sponsors that are sponsoring the show? HighSpots.com. They got a great VOD service, a great subscription box service. Also, masks, gear, wrestling rings, thousands of DVDs, you name it, they got it. Go support them. OneHourTees.com. They help run ProWrestlingTees.com. That's the way you can support your favorite independent wrestlers. Buy a t-shirt and you're doing a great thing. Tweakedaudio.com/Colt, the earbuds that I use, get over 30% off of free shipping just because you listen to this show. And I appreciate you listening to the show. I love that I'm back in America. Listen, I would do the Fringe Festival my whole life if I could. 12 straight months. I think I would do it. It's so much fun, but it's nice being back to a regular schedule, I guess. And I'm excited to see you guys somewhere in the United States or the world. I think I'm done for this week. Thank you, guys. This has been The Art of Wrestling for Colt Cabana. I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.